At 6:04 p.m. I'm noting that we do not yet have a quorum, but we want to be respectful to the wonderful presenters we have tonight. So if everybody agrees, we will move on to our presenters. We can begin with the presentation from the City of Albany Fair Housing Office.
Hey everybody, my name is Amanda Ahrens. I'm the Fair Housing Officer for the City of Albany. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and talk to you about what I do in the Fair Housing Office. So starting the Fair Housing Office, I came to be hired back in October 2023, but we've had the Fair Housing Ordinance in place since 1983, and nobody's fulfilled the position or carried out the duties. That's why they got me in place to be able to do it. Since I started, I made contacts with several different fair housing organizations throughout New York State, including Attorney General's Office, New York State Division of Human Rights, Central New York Fair Housing Office, and then I created a bunch of documents to be able to run the Fair Housing Office. So that includes the intake forms, the complaint form, the what do you do after you file a fair housing, all the presentations, all that stuff. And then I started attending trainings in the area that would be useful to my position to make sure I'm up to date on everything. And then I attended events in Albany to get everyone used to my face, let them know what I'm doing, and spread the word that the Fair Housing Office is available and ready to help people. And with that, when they finally learn about me, I make sure to provide fair housing education to the public as well. That goes with landlords, real estate, and tenants or home buyers as well. And we do promote that on the Neighborhood of Community Services. So if you guys are on that webpage, make sure you guys try to share that for me if you could. So what do I do as a fair housing officer? Besides the initial of what I did to get everything set up, my job is to investigate any fair housing complaints that come my way. And in that process, I make sure they're within jurisdiction. I make sure it's a fair housing matter. I reach out to the respondent, which is the person who is making the discriminatory act, get their side of it, get all the documents, and just go back and forth until hopefully we get it to conciliation, and I'm able to facilitate that. So in that role, it cuts down on a lot of enforcement of having to go to New York State because I'm not able to bring it to court, unfortunately. But I've just found out at the New York State Division of Human Rights Conference, 80% of fair housing cases is actually settled through mediation or conciliation. So I thought that was really cool to find out. So again, on top of just handling the fair housing complaints, I also do the outreach and networking to make sure I'm getting all the contacts that it would be useful to me and providing my services to other people that might be finding my services useful. And then I'm educating the public. Like I said, if I do have investigation claims that come up, I make sure to provide my services to those landlords and housing providers to say, hey, I have these education services as part of the conciliation. I make them do a fair housing training. If not, like that trauma-informed services training as well on top of that. And then obviously I try to do my monthly outreach. I just did Pride Month with In Our Own Voices. And that should be on our YouTube page soon if you guys do want to go back and watch that. And then I'm a little nervous, I need to take a break. And then on top of that, I do inclusionary zoning compliance, so the affordable housing ordinance that had went through, I make sure all the buildings for that are within compliance and up to date, and then I go through and I check with the tenants to make sure that everything matches what the landlords are saying. And then annually, which I think you guys should have gotten or were told about is the annual fair housing report that I put out, and it's one so far. Yeah, it was really useful information for our first year. So just briefly covering what fair housing is. So if you guys do come across any of these cases, you'll know how to refer them to me. So fair housing refers to the federal, state, and local laws that protect people from being treated unfairly or unequally in housing-related activities, also known as housing discrimination. And that is governed by the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, as well as New York State Human Rights Law and the Consolidated Landlord-Tenant Laws as well. And then Albany County has its own human rights law, and then the City of Albany has the Omnibus Human Rights Law as additional protections. So anybody who works with housing must comply with the fair housing laws and should know them. So that goes with housing providers, including housing staff, maintenance, leasing agents, any real estate agents and their brokers, as well as anybody developing or building housing, mortgage lenders, brokers, developers, municipal services, including trash, electric, and water, anything that we provide for the city, for any kind of housing services, homeless shelters, and any organizations that provide housing assistance as well. So what type of housing is covered? In New York State, it's almost any housing that provides residence to people, which include apartments, assisted living, transitional, homeless shelters, and any kind of, I want to say, like accommodations to like hotels and stuff as well. So there's a few exceptions though. Any one or two family owner-occupied buildings or room rentals for the same-sex individuals if the owner is also occupied in there is an exception, so they don't have to follow fair housing rules, except when advertising, they must comply with race and color protections and make sure that they're not.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot, right? So going back to
single.
yeah, so the exceptions is any owner-occupied one or two family unit. In addition, rooming rentals for same-sex individuals if the owner is occupying the space.
So if I have a two-family home, I'm renting to a family member, and they're paying rent and everything, they wouldn't come under that?
So you wouldn't have to follow fair housing laws. Yeah, except when it comes to advertising.
Okay, so everybody has that equal access?
Yeah, yeah. And then the other exception is religious organizations or member-only private clubs, such as housing exclusive for 55 years of age. And New York State law is even more complicated than that, but that's the simple version of it. So who's protected under fair housing? Under the Federal Fair Housing Act, it's anybody with a disability, somebody because of their race, color, sex, which also includes sexual orientation, and national origin, religion, and familial status. Under New York State and the City of Albany law, it covers age, immigration, and citizenship status, lawful source of income, marital or domestic partner status, military status, and arrest record as it relates to another protected class. An additional protection for the City of Albany, which is unique, is it protects somebody based off of their protected hairstyle as well.
The crown.
So what actions are prohibited under fair housing law? It's pretty much anything that creates a barrier to housing. Or prevents people from staying in their housing once they've already been in there. So that could be as simple as just telling them the unit isn't available, even though they check a week later and it's still there. It could be charging higher rent to those with kids, or telling them that they cannot go on a certain floor. Like say they want a second floor and then the landlord is like, no, you guys are gonna be too noisy, you have to be on the first floor. That would be discriminatory. Not complying with maintenance orders, maintenance issues in order, such as you see that they're all fixing white residents but they're not doing the people of color. And then denying an application based off of somebody's disability or their reasonable accommodation request, such as an emotional support animal.
So what do you do in the case that someone is advertising that they just got a for rent sign, right, for rent? And a family will go in there and they'll say, oh, my rent is $1,200, but then the next person is telling them it's like $1,650. Because they're not having anything documented as putting it on social media or don't have anything on there. So just to say, like, we had 2 different people that said they went to look at the same apartment, but they got a different price.
Yeah, that happens. I actually got a complaint last week about that, but it was in a different city. So, but the thing is, I would file a complaint for that because then somebody can go in and do testing and they'll send a few applicants to see who gets discriminated or turned away based off of that or what they're being told, and then they can prove that discrimination. So examples in mortgage lending and just additional discriminatory acts of the Federal Fair Housing Act, which is kind of similar to landlord-tenant, is just refusing or denying valid application or insurance, like requiring flood insurance in an area that you wouldn't typically require of a certain area. Doing invasive background checks on certain individuals, denying applications because of the type of income they have. Let's say they have alimony or child support, and they say, no, that doesn't count as income. That would be discriminatory. And then we'll talk about, that different federal fair housing is any kind of quid pro quo favors, such as actually asking for sexual favors in lieu of maybe rent or paying your rent late. Evicting or denying services based off of a filing of a fair housing claim, that would be retaliation, and that's covered under the Federal Fair Housing Act. And housing advertisement that indicates any kind of preference, barrier, or limitation to who can access housing. So on the educational pieces that I do to the public, these are some of the topics that I cover. I go over the basics just like I did, but then I'll go into mortgage lending and what protections they have, good screening application process and what the law says for that, gender including identity and expression, which is covered under GENDA and some other New York State laws, race and color protections, immigration status, then we'll go into disability, asking for accommodations, assistance animals, and then finally, New York State has protections for victims of domestic violence status. So addressing fair housing claims when they come to my office. So in the first year, you'll see I had 73 calls. Only 36 of those were actually fair housing claims. And so I was able to figure out where most of these came from. Most of it was from the website, because we put all of our information up there, and it's really resourceful. And then our housing services advocate, who takes a lot of our landlord-tenant issues and helps people find housing. I got a lot from her, and then the rest was from either nonprofits or other places within the city of Albany. So those resources and referrals are always welcome. Just to kind of put this in context, this is for about a year and 2-3 months. Right now, I've currently got 91 calls to date. So it's definitely going to double this year. So when people do file a complaint, this is what they must fill out. It goes over their information, the person who's making the discriminatory action. It goes over what action they felt has happened. They can summarize it, and then some contextual stuff to make sure it is fair housing related or if in my jurisdiction. It explains on the back what their protected classes are so they can double make sure, and then some demographics, and provides them with a space to say if they need any accommodations, if they need information kept private through the DB, and what they would like the outcomes to be essentially, and if they have any witnesses. So once I get that complaint form, that's filing a complaint with my office. I do the intake with the person, ask more questions, get any evidence, and then I do research to make sure that's within my jurisdiction. So again, that would be making sure it's within the city of Albany, they are a protected class, and it's a discriminatory act. And then I let them know whether or not I'm gonna take it, and then I start the process of filing a bad letter and sending that to the person who made the discriminatory act to go from there. And then, like I said, try to go through either referring it to New York State if it's something that I can't handle or needs testing, or I try to take corrective action with the situation and do the conciliation and try to come to a remedy. But they also have the opportunity to withdraw at any time if they don't feel comfortable. So the types of cases that I've gotten so far, 23 of them I've handled myself and conciliated or provided some kind of services. 6 I referred to New York State Division of Human Rights. 3 went to other agencies, and you'll see this is a breakdown of the services that I've provided. And down here you'll see the types of discrimination cases. Most of it was disability, either relating to accommodation or being denied access to housing because of their accommodation. So obviously, I would like to be your first resource referral if you guys do have any housing discrimination claims that you guys do get. If not, or there's something outside of the city of Albany, here's some great resources to be able to help with any housing discrimination that may be happening. And then housing referrals, if it is outside of Albany County, or outside the city of Albany as well. Central New York handles most, like 16 counties, I think. And then New York City has their own, the Justice Center, which is for Long Island, and then Housing Opportunities Made Equal is in Buffalo. And I actually went out to the Bureau of Urban Renewal office in Buffalo, and they have a fair housing officer there, and I actually went and trained with him, and that's how I got my office started to get some ideas. So they're great out there. And then here's my contact information if you guys do need that as well. Do you guys have any questions?
That was very informative.
Oh, my God.
Good.
And you did a wonderful job.
Hello. Hi, this is Rosie.
Oh, Rosie,
Hi, everyone.
can you hear us?
Yes, that was an awesome presentation and very informative. I just have one really quick question. What impact, if any, do you think policies such as redlining have had on like the current housing market? And how have you determined that it has had that impact?
Can you repeat that for me one more time? You said something about redlining, correct?
Yeah, like I know redlining is no longer being practiced, but do you think that redlining had any impact on like current day trends in the housing environment here in Albany at all?
Yeah, you definitely see a lot of overlays of the data that we have, and those happen to be in the red line areas. We see in our city equity report that certain areas are getting more help and reconstruction than others, and those tend to be the red line areas that aren't getting as much help. So making sure that we're doing that, and then we also have summer scholars from Johns Hopkins, I believe this year, 2 of them that are helping me work on the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act data that comes out every year, and we're trying to analyze that to see which demographics are being discriminated against and from what housing lenders. However, it doesn't say what zip codes that these denials are from, so that's kind of a barrier, but I did want to overlay that with the redlined areas, so we're going to see what we can do to work with the financial lenders in the area to talk with them and see if they can provide us any more details so we can dive into that.
Has good cause eviction impacted any of your work or numbers?
I'm not sure. If anything, it's an added protection for a lot of demographics as well. Yeah, just because they could be discriminated against and be like, okay, I just don't like you anymore, you have to leave, but now they have that protection. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, thank you very much. That was interesting.
Before we move on to our next presenter, we will officially start the meeting now that we have quorum. So I will ask the secretary to call the roll.
Alrighty, so Chair Mueller,
Present.
Vice Chair Wilkins. Present. I'm here, the Secretary, Kate Shelley, Commissioner Alexander Mosley,
Here.
Commissioner Alexander,
Present.
Commissioner Evers, present, Commissioner Love,
Is present.
is present. Melanie Woodward,
Oh, I'm virtual.
We got you, Rosie.
alright, Katrina Hahn,
Present.
Bryce Mobley, not present, and Autumn present. Alright,
The May 21st, 25 minutes were previously sent out. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as previously sent out. Moved by
Second.
Vice Chair Young-Wilkins, seconded by Commissioner Alexander. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move directly to a vote. The vote is on the motion to adopt the May 25th meeting minutes as previously sent out. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Hodge, do we have any public comments lined up for this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we will continue with our presentation, and we'll come back to the equity report. So now we will hear a presentation from the Office of Human Resources.
Hello, everyone. So I know everybody in this room is Louise. My name is Tatiana Diaz. I have the privilege of serving our city as the Human Resources Director, and Marissa Tuszynski, who is our Deputy HR Director. I know last year we presented, but we also this year decided we wanted to outline a recruitment plan with all of specialized activity and what our strategy is. So we included that in the packet, but we also just created some slides to go over the things we've done to implement this strategy. Just for a little information about our office. So the Office of Human Resources, we oversee all benefit administration, all HR functions, labor relations, but we are also your civil service administration agency for the City of Albany, the Albany School District, the Parking Authority, the housing, and the library. We're a team of 8, and we do a lot with a small team. Very proud of all the work we've done specifically last year. This is going to be our agenda. We're going to go over how we are continuing on the momentum of our Join Albany campaign. We'll go over some of the recruitment events and activities we've done this year. We're going to highlight a little bit more about our civil service workshop, which has become a valuable local resource, but also has become a model for other municipalities. And then, because we are trying to be more intentional about merging that Join Albany experience from time of hire to retirement, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do for employee retention as well.
So we'll start with a recap of kind of where we are with our Join Albany campaign. And actually, before I get into this, I just want to circulate one more attachment. We have an appendix to the recruitment plan that we sent around, which basically just shows kind of a full list of all of the events that the Office of HR attended from January 24 through the end of July this year. So we have a couple upcoming events listed on there as well, but it just gives a better idea of sort of all the different activities that we're out and about doing.
Yeah, so it shows that we're not just following the recruitment lane of attending job fairs. We're at community events, we're at church events, we're anywhere anyone will have us. If you guys have an event, please invite us. Val is always tapping us into opportunities within our community. One of the things that we have really focused on since 23 is bridging community outreach with HR practices, right? Our resources, our opportunities have to be digestible to our community. You can't do that without having feedback from them. How do they want this information? Where are we providing it? So we wanted to make sure you had an idea of the type of events we're attending, so maybe you could identify other events that we could be looking into. So Marissa will cover our Join Albany.
So since we launched this in March of 23, we continue to see an increase in applications and a decrease in our vacancy rates. I will just mention that we have a new communications coordinator coming on board, actually this coming Monday, so they're sort of gonna pick up the reins of diving into the data that we get off the back end of this website. So even though we kind of had a lull, it's just, you know, it takes too much time to kind of lean into, you know, pulling out that raw data and really like being able to focus on what we're seeing there. We do have a person who's gonna come back on board and help us utilize that. But while we still have this campaign up and running, you know, it continues to sort of just serve as the friendlier face of the applications and the job postings that we have up. So, you know, when you're Googling City of Albany jobs, you're going to get hits from Indeed, from Join Albany, and from our jobs.albanyny.gov site where you can actually apply. And we sort of have it set up so everything filters back to where you're actually going to be able to see that application and to apply for the position.
And the reason for that I want to emphasize is because we want to make sure that as we're vetting our candidates, that we're doing that on a uniform template. We don't want to be considering a resume that someone may have had $500, right, and paid someone to fill that resume. I want to know what your qualifications are in the same format so that I am not making, or for our hiring departments are not making a decision based on maybe some extra fluff. We want everyone to be vetted on the same template.
You can go to the next slide, please.
And a lot of what we have done with our digital tools and our human insight, right, community feedback, is pivot, right? Whenever we see people were applying on certain days, or maybe we weren't getting applications from a certain area in our community, we started having more intentional recruitment efforts in those areas. And this is just some of the data. I do want to say in 23, we attended 38 events, 24, we attended, I think it's 60 something, don't get me doing math. As of today, we've already been at 38 events.
All right, and here's just a snapshot of sort of, again, our Office of HR by the numbers. You can see we're a transaction-heavy office, so this is, you know, where a lot of our time goes, but it also just highlights, you know, the amount of events that we've been at and all the different ways that we're trying to reach out.
Yeah, and so these 7,000 applications were reviewed by people on my team. We don't use AI, so it's literally us going through every single application, letting people know if we deny their application specifically why. You didn't list supervisory experience. You lack this many years of experience. You didn't list a bachelor's, and this position requires that, whatever that looks like.
So when you say don't use AI, you're saying when someone is applying, there's no ATS system that their resume is
My team is pulling up that application, going through it, and making sure that we are making sure candidates meet their minimum qualifications by the standards provided by New York State Civil Service.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yes.
So here's just a few, this is kind of a summary of our highlights that we've talked about already, but again, we're seeing, continuing to see that increase in job applications. We are still keeping an eye on our lateral hiring policies that we put in place and those applications that are coming through for APD, the fire department, just helping support, you know, those public safety hiring campaigns as much as we can. We also help with a lot, at least for the fire department, sort of their onboarding and getting their new teams in place. Our monthly civil service workshops, also our new leaves of absence that have come into play over the past year and a half, we'll touch on in a little bit more detail in the coming slides as part of our retention efforts and also recruitment for the workshop. And also we'll touch a little bit more on the New York Helps program, just, you know, helping sort of reduce those barriers to entry for positions at the city and statewide.
Paid family leave, employees will be able to start taking that leave in July. For prenatal leave, we added 1 work week worth of time for parents to be able to attend appointments. And parental leave now extends beyond maternity leave. Before this policy, only moms were able to participate in parental. And another reason that we decided to have a prenatal and parental leave is that paid family leave, the eligibility for that program is based on the state's program, which requires 6 months. So we decided that we wanted to allow this for people that had at least 3 months of service, continuous service with the city.
So those are actually, they will run, prenatal and PFL will run concurrently with FMLA, which is currently open to all employees, but these new benefits, for the time being, are available to our non-union employees.
And how much time off do they get?
For
the parental and?
parental is 12 weeks at 67% of their pay, and they can go to 100 with their use of accruals, which mirrors the paid family leave program, with the difference is that it's that 3-month waiting period versus the 6-month or 1-year waiting period for FMLA, which is unpaid. And we don't require that they exhaust all of their accruals, like our maternity leave policy required for you to exhaust all your accruals.
Okay, so jumping into some of our ongoing youth opportunities. Again, we're sort of just highlighting our summer youth employment program that we help the Department of Recreation, Youth and Workforce Services. We just help them support getting that up and running. We have in the past attended orientation sessions for the NYSERS benefits for New York State retirement to try to just provide, more education and more background on, why they would be interested and why this is a great benefit to jump into when you are starting a summer youth.
This was a recommendation from one of our previous presentations here as well.
And from that participation from the Office of Human Resources and our budget office, we did see an increase from 23 to 24, from 93 participants contributing to 194. And right now in 2025, I believe we are at 287, which is about 30% of the participants that are enrolled, and we haven't held those orientation sessions yet. So hopefully after the first week of July, we'll see a bump in those numbers too when we get a chance to go in and speak about those benefits.
Because the SYEP program has expanded to year-round. Some students are able to participate in that program year-round. And in addition, so a lot of what we do with SYEP is try to help them in the recruitment of not only the participants for their program, but also the businesses. In addition to encouraging our own departments to take some SYEP participants. This year for enrichment, which runs the first week of July, in addition to doing our New York State retirement sessions, we will be presenting civil service career paths to SYEP students so that we are informing them about the importance of public service roles and we're actually partnering. I'm presenting that with New York State, Adam Rossi from New York State, and we'll talk more about those collaborations that we've done. So all of the participants will receive retirement information, financial planning, and a career public service career planning as well.
Tati, how many of the students are doing SYEP year-round?
I could find out for you and get you specific information. I know some of them are like county participants, so they're not just City of Albany, but I could get you some numbers on that from our Department of Youth and Workforce Services. And then one of the things we like to highlight, and it is, you'll see this in our future state, we do want to formalize an internship program. APD just launched an internship program themselves. So future state is something that we want to formalize that program under HR and have a commitment from our department to participate in at least hosting an intern. For the most part, there are interns throughout our departments. Now that we created the student assistant position, it allows us to have interns so long as they're enrolled in school. So you don't have to just stay here for the summer. You can stay with us until you graduate school, and maybe you'll decide to stay with us.
Is that only still for the age group of SYEP, or is that for
anybody that is in high school or college can participate as a student assistant, and it will be outside of the civil service. It'll be non-competitive, so we're working to get that position into the non-competitive class.
Okay, so on to our recruitment events. So as we mentioned before, in '24, we were at least 65 events across the community. This year, as we mentioned, we've updated that 25 events to about 38 to date, and counting. And I would say last year, we started looking at the different wards across the city that we're holding events at and we're attending events at. So we were about 60% across the city. So this year we want to kind of focus on spreading that out to make sure we're meeting people where they're at, and we're seeing events at every ward.
Yes. So the city's 55A program allows for qualified individuals with disabilities that have been established either for the Commissioner of the Blind or Access VR to waive that examination. Obviously, under the health program, a lot of our examination requirements have been waived. However, last year we took this program from 5 titles to about 38 titles. One of the things I'm focusing now is developing collaborations with Wildwood Program, Center for Disability, and things like that, so that we're actually creating a pipeline and being intentional about creating positions that that can be done. So there's some work that we want to do there. Here, last year, as we know, ShopRite closed. We went out, we had a job fair where our office is very, we're trying to be aware of what's happening outside. For example, when Job Corps was about to close, we were getting ready to respond and make sure we had recruitment events, outreach, whatever that looked like. So as you all are hearing things, if you hear a business is closing, a school is being impacted, someone's having layoffs, please let us know so that we can reach out and provide some support in those areas.
I was in a meeting with Jonathan, Parks and Recreation, the other day, and he said that the majority of the lifeguards that they have now, they can hire them at 15 and train them and make them certified.
I believe that's right, and then in addition to what our administrative services did, instead of these participants having to get their certifications or CPR, any of that, we had a limited grant that I think gave us maybe 100 certifications. We put some push on our budget department, and thankfully, Administrative Services Commissioner Anne Marie Salmon and Budget Director Gideon Grandy were able to make a commitment to pay for all of the certifications, because the reality is we need the lifeguards. Our community has to be safe. We want to make sure that they're trained appropriately, the way we would want them to be trained, even if it has to do with a recertification. We've been paying for that. We're providing water park training for them to make sure, because you see that slide. I'm excited about that. So I hope I see you all there this summer as well.
Here are just some fun shots.
Outside.
Yeah.
What we do.
So we're at the end of the SYAT program last year in the top left, and then going clockwise. This is at our Public Service Recognition Week job fair and workshop, which is held at the Albany Public Library on the Washington Ave branch. This is at the MLK job fair. Same with the photo on the bottom, and then one of our civil service workshops, which we'll get into a little more detail in the coming slides, at the education, what's the building that we have it at?
I think
Education Opportunity Center.
Yes.
Yeah, over on Warren Street.
yes. So we've been outside so much that now people are inviting us back, so we don't have to work as hard, which is pretty nice. That's the good thing. People want to participate. We've been very grateful to continue working with not only New York State Department of Civil Service, but our own Civil Service Commission, the City of Albany's Municipal Civil Service Commission, to participate in the New York Health Program. We submitted over 250 titles that allows us to waive that examination. Another thing that people don't realize is not only does this allow us to waive an examination, if you were in a provisional status that you had to take a test eventually, we were able to permanently appoint these people under, or employees under the program.
So we've had about 150 appointments made.
And there is more information about the health program in the actual recruitment plan as well. This program does end in 2026, the end of 2026, or so they say. because they said that last year. So just to keep you guys aware of some of the things that is coming up. Well, one, our exam fees remain waived for, our other exams. We still continue doing promotional exams. There is a difference between a health programs appointment and a regular civil service appointment, so we still encourage people to take exams when they're able to. But hopefully, the next presentations we're talking about will be the civil service transformation that's happening at the Department of Civil Service, that we're hoping they are mindful and they are taking into consideration how that transformation impacts local municipalities, right? City of Albany, or even smaller municipalities. So there will be, most examinations will be T&E, which means you can't fail, which is good because a lot of people, their reason for not taking an exam is thinking they're going to fail, although probably 99 or 98% are successful. I'm hoping that will increase our applications, and candidates are more looking towards public service as a whole, because the engagement with candidates looking for work or local job seekers has declined not only in the city of Albany, and we're actually seeing an increase, right? We're in the momentum of our Join Albany campaign, but we're hoping that that transformation that is on the verge of coming allows us to continue offering opportunities into public service without requiring an exam. However, if anybody knows me, I'm very passionate about civil service. If we all look at what's happening at the federal level right now, civil service is an added layer of protection for public service. And that is what we teach about in our workshop. Although the system needs to be reformed, there's a need for innovation, there is a lot of benefits from being in a civil service protected title, and I'm sure a lot of you who have public service experience understand that. So when we launched our workshop in December of 2023, we had it here at City Hall. As you guys know, we took it outside. We've been at BOCES, we've been at the different libraries. Our workshop not only became a valuable community resource, but I was invited to present at New York State Civil Service Conference last year, because our workshop then became a platform for municipal collaboration. I think February of 24, Albany County came to our workshop, and they said, I don't have to recreate the wheel because you guys are doing really good. So they were like, hey, would you be interested? Or I said, would you guys be interested in participating with us? Because at that time we had our residency. So a lot of people that were coming to the workshop, we couldn't even hire, right? So I said, let's do this work together. Let's amplify our impact, use a little bit less resources. So we've been collaborating with the county since February of 24. Our workshop, like I said, became a model. New York State decided to launch a civil service workshop. Marissa attended their very first workshop, and she met Adam Rossi at that workshop. I want to say, when was that workshop?
Over a year ago, I would say.
So since August of 24, we've had a tri-jurisdiction collaboration with the city, the county, and the state. So when you come and you participate in our workshop, not only are you hearing about City of Albany, and I'm very good at making sure we are told that's the best local service employer, but we are able to direct people. Not everybody wants to join us, right? We also don't have a position that meets the needs of everybody. People are in nursing, people are social workers, they want to be correctional officers. So sometimes we really can't meet them where they're at, but we can direct them, because honestly, this became recruiting for public service in the capital region. It goes beyond what we want to do for our city, but more so what we want to do for our community, which is make sure we attract and retain top talent. So this is here, well, that first picture over there is us presenting at New York State Civil Service Conference with our peers at the county and at the state.
Just a couple weeks ago.
And then here, you see one of the things that we like to do as part of our workshop is we like to highlight people's paths, right? Everyone can't relate to me. As I'm not sure everyone here knows, I started at the Department of General Services as an information clerk. I have held 5 competitive civil service titles with the City of Albany. I'm actually the first competitive class HR director that has passed and been permanently appointed to her position. Right. Thank you. And a lot of that is because there has to be continuity of business when, as we're seeing, administrations are coming, people are nervous, right? What happens to my job? But really, what happens to city services when the person that knows how to check our water tap quality is then replaced by someone's uncle, right? We need to have protection. We need to have that protection for our employees, more so for the benefit of our community. So at this workshop, one of the things that we did was we celebrated Public Service Recognition Week, which was the first week of May.
Correct, yep.
Every single day that week, I also want to thank our Common Council who issued a proclamation declaring that week Public Service Week with the City of Albany. So every single day that first week, the Office of Human Resources put on an activity. The first thing we did was we launched it with a civil service workshop, right? We want to recognize our employees, but we want to make sure that as we're recognizing them, we're inspiring people to come and join us. So that was the mayor who happened to be our guest speaker, along with Tim Holtz from the New York State Department of Civil Service and Commissioner Jonathan Jones. Shaniqua Jackson, our city clerk, was just at our last workshop as our guest speaker. Another thing we do is we try to be mindful of the resources we have at the workshop. So we had Ira Batia come talk about civic engagement and the importance of voting and how it relates to opportunities, right? You guys are voting in the people that are creating these job opportunities, that are changing these policies. These are some of the feedbacks that we have received from our civil service workshop. People have been so engaged that some people have attended every single workshop. They are genuinely learning about civil service, where I'm kind of surprised when I'm like, they're asking me questions. I'm like, one of our participants decided he wanted to sit in on the New York State Commission of Civil Service meeting and made a public comment. So people are feeling empowered because they know what their rights are and what they're entitled to and what they can appeal and what they can say, hey, no, I can appeal that, or that was an adverse action taken against me. I need some information on it. Like I mentioned, we do want to continue creating that Join Albany feel, that feel of being part of a team that is out in our communities providing a service. That is all that we're here for. Last year, we created our orientation program, which we already spoke to you all about, where we want to make sure from day one, people are aware not only of what our mission is, provide city services and support for our community, but also that they are eligible for things like FMLA. If they experience discrimination at the department, who they should be reaching out to, what their benefits are, when they can change it. Implemented the paid family leave program to allow more work-life balance, right? You can take leave now beyond just having a baby. We also implemented our employee discount portal, which employees are able to go on there, not only secure local discounts, we're able to put all of the things that city employees, all the perks, they're also able to get discounts all over the country. People have gone on vacation, have reached out to us and said, hey, I was able to stay at a hotel for 20% less.
Yeah, we've got movie tickets, cruises.
And technically, I believe, as commissions, you may be able to participate. I will find out and send you the link. We also facilitated DEI training with the assistance of Melanie and Katrina and their team. We've led a lot of different, and we can actually provide you listings of all the trainings we've provided for our workforce. But a lot of what we've been doing is employee engagement events, Public Service Recognition Week. We had the CDPHP Workforce Challenge. I am bringing back Valley Cat Night. I'm bringing back Employee Night at the Park Playhouse. These are all things that have been staples of just being a city employee, and we want to bring it back. So that'll be coming soon. Here is our employee wellness fair. We host that every January. Our ice cream social that we had at the Clinton Avenue Collective, our CDPHP Workforce Challenge, which we were able to bring up from 2 and 3 and 5 participants to about 60 participants. One of the things that we did as part of Public Service Recognition Week is that we had a Rec and Wellness Day where we had yoga sessions, Zumba, but we also had our annual kickball tournament, which the Department of Recreation currently holds the trophy to, and we will be bringing it to admin next year. But one of the things I want to highlight is that Public Service Recognition Week, CDPHP Workforce Challenge, most of these events, we were able to secure free funding from our benefit provider, so it's at no cost to our city. These are some of the things we did for Public Service Recognition Week. It included an employee headshot day, so for free. Andrew Welder from Best Frame Forward provided his services. They came out amazing. For that week, if you scan this QR code, it listed every single day what we were doing and just information. We had employees, one of the days was recognition days where we had a voting go out where you could vote for the best dressed, the funniest employee, things like that. So we had a good time. The mayor also made sure to send out a note to recognize all employees. And up there I am with Commissioner Tim Hobbs and Hannah Black from Albany County. So we've been having fun, we've been engaged, and we've really been meeting our community and learning more about our workforce, what they want to see brought back. So we've been having a good time, and I feel like we've been making an impact. One of the things that we recognize is that employees were hungry for recognition beyond just the day. So we developed this Hey Thanks, where now if a coworker does something nice for you, you could go on here, recognize them, and it lives on our CityNet. So when you go on there, you can see all the nice things your coworkers or your colleagues have been doing for one another. Looking ahead, these are some of the things that we want to do. We particularly want to focus more on encouraging young people to join public service. In addition to formalizing an internship program, we want to provide things like public service career days. I've been working with, or will be working with Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Capital Region to do some mentoring days with, and some workforce development with that group as well. We want to do things like HR for a day, City Hall tours, and in our recruitment strategy, there's a little bit more about all of these things that we want to do. We want to continue participating and hosting our workshops not only at local colleges, but local high schools and also elementary schools, we want to continue partnering with our Department of Youth and Workforce Services to make sure young people are aware of the skills and the tools that they need to navigate our civil service, public service system. So these are some of the things that we want to do, and of course, we're open for feedback. So that is what we have been up to, and there's more information in your packet, but any questions?
I would just like to say I'm blown away by the work that you're doing today.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
congratulations. And there's have a passion for it, like you just exude it, and that's so wonderful because it's really important that we foster an environment that's welcoming and retaining good talent.
No, the city has done a lot for me personally, for my team, and we are privileged to be able to give back. I also I know Commissioner Love is on the phone, but last time I told her I was ordering City of Albany fans, so I did bring her one, because both of us were hot that day. So in addition to, one of the things we're also doing is we're mindful of even down to what we're buying, right?
Sure.
We want, if you come across our table, I don't want you to grab something and be like, and throw it away. I want you to feel like, oh no, I need this in my bag. And let me tell you, I've been to events where people are waving this and I'm like, we purposely go to events and bring these, and people, they're the first thing gone. We were just at PEF this weekend. Immediately, our fans were gone. They will be, because HR is always Daniel's aware of what's outside, so we are trending. And we want to make sure that we are filling the holes of our communities and responding accordingly. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
If you guys have
Tatiana.
any- Yes.
Hi, this is Rosie. I'm on the line.
Hi.
Thank you so much for my fan. Just give it to my sister Kim and I'll get it from her.
Welcome.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
And I just wanted to echo what Tom said. You know, I've had the pleasure of working with you over the last several years as you've been working in human resources. And I just wanted to say that I've seen your growth both professionally as well as personally. And I want to commend you for everything that you're doing. You can see your intentionality. You can see all of the effort that you're putting into the programs. I specifically want to commend you on just really working collaboratively with us and accepting our feedback, in particular about the Summer Youth Employment Program, and to see how you just really made those recommendations come to life. And I think this is the type of, well, you know, when we're giving recommendations and, you know, we're getting really passionate about things, this is the type of work that we're looking for. We're not looking for folks to come perfect. We're looking for folks come willing to collaborate with us and to make meaningful changes. And so I just want to thank you so much. I am leaving the commission, but I want to thank you so much for the work that you've done. And it just makes me feel good that, you know, folks like you will continue to be around even after I'm gone. So
I want to thank the commission for continuing to provide these feedback. We know what we know. We don't know what everybody knows. So thank you for pouring into me, my office, and what we do. And we're excited to do more. So thank you.
Thank you. I had some people come to me, the first thing that they were on civil service, and I went directly to Tati, and she just took them up and just dragged them all over the place. They're in the civil service, and they're going like, Dr. Wilkins, thank you so much, she is wonderful. Thank you. And the energy she's showing here, she does it every day, random people, so I'm gonna keep referring people to you, and thank you.
Especially if people are saying, hey, we applied for a city job, we haven't heard back, or do you know what it takes? Send them to our office. We are open 8:30 to 5 every single day. What we do at our workshop, I tell people, we do every day at my office. We have an open door policy, and it's not a fake one. If anybody comes in, they get to meet me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I think you made it a lot easier for people to
Understand.
the city.
As part of our workshop, we literally will type in your application for you.
Oh, yeah, you have some of my team members.
Yeah, and we have people that have language barriers. We have, as we're innovating and creating all these electronic systems, those are barriers. So we want to be able to remove as many as we can. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to a presentation from our city clerk.
Good evening, everybody. So my name is Shaniqua Jackson. I'm the city clerk for the city of Albany. Today I have with me my legislative director, Brian Jimenez. And before we get started, I just want to thank Tatiana and her team in Human Resources. I attended the last workshop, and I want to say, although I got there later, the feedback that I received the next day, because I had a few people call into my office just thanking me for sharing my story and my journey here in the city of Albany. I want to thank you and your team for putting on those workshops, because they're valuable information that they're receiving. And you guys have made it tremendously, so much easier for people to join the city of Albany and to give back to the community. And me as a product of Albany, right? I never thought that it would be a possibility for me to work in the city of Albany, because it was just so difficult. But I want to thank you and your team. I want to thank everybody in the city of Albany for just welcoming me and just making it my journey a lot easier. Thank you for what you made our city services a lot. Thank you.
You know, can I say something
Yes.
real quick?
Yes.
I don't know how to say it, but I'm just gonna say it, 'cause I remember going in and out of City Hall in like the 70s and the 80s, right? And none of this that's happening now happened, and City Hall was mainly 98% white people, right? And you very rarely saw a black person in City Hall. When you came here because the mayor knew you, right? Yes. Because he was my principal when I went to school. So, you know, the difference now is to see that it's a shared experience. It's not just for one color, it's for everybody. And that's what City Hall looks like to me now. So, I like it. I like it.
We are all focused on making sure that people understand that these opportunities, these services, they look, they feel, and they need them. We need that insight, that's how things get better.
Yeah.
There are people like Shaniqua, like myself, that are a product of Albany.
Absolutely, yeah.
The more people can see themselves in someone, the more willing they are, and one person can't inspire anyone. I'm inspiring a lot of people.
Y'all would have never had your signatures on no paperwork. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So every time I get paperwork from your office, the Teacher Brown office.
We are very.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I am, because it shows the fairness, right?
Yeah.
It's breaking barriers.
Absolutely.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, and we're gonna continue, so. All right, so, as I said, I brought today my legislative director, who is one of the integral parts of my staff on the council side. I like to call the council, we're a small but mighty team. We're a team of 4, me, I make 5. It includes the legislative director, junior policy analyst, the junior legislative aide, and the research counsel, who is our lawyer for the Common Council. So in this guide, you'll find the simple functions. They may be simple to you, but they're a little complicated for us sometimes, but council functions and how to get involved. You'll also learn a little bit about how lawmaking is made here through the City of Albany on the Common Council side, and then our annual budget review.
All right, so it's a fairly straightforward process. The Common Council doesn't have as much authority in some senses as people tend to think. We're limited to looking at the property of the city, property in the city, the affairs of the city, and then the actual government structure. Other subjects in state law can allow, or other state law can allow us to actually make an impact somewhere, sometimes in housing, sometimes in public health. Generally considered affairs. That's how we can do that. But with regards to lawmaking, there's a fairly basic approach. Identify your issue, whatever it may be. Something that the council sees a lot is housing. Establish what your desired outcome is going to be. Whether you want it to be more of a certain type of housing, or you want to fix public health a bit. You want to tackle tobacco was one thing that we did over the last couple of years. Research mechanisms for implementing that change. To go back to the tobacco example, we had an option between licensing or zoning. So take a look at what other municipalities are doing, other levels of government, and then we get to the next point, determining its legality and feasibility. For that, we would talk to Corporation Counsel, we would talk to our own lawyers, try to put together, and because we're looking at other municipalities and other levels of government and their legislation, we'll have an idea of what may be able to stand up to legal testing, but then feasibility is also another thing. We can't just create an office with no money, no positions, no staffing. So we have to sort of take a lot of different things into account there. And then finally, we draft the legislation itself. A lot of work goes into prepping to that point. But then we're drafting the legislation because, again, you've looked at other municipalities, you sort of have an idea. You can also look at the city code, which we have online as well, and you'll see at the very end a link towards that. It's also in your packets. You can use that as sort of a reference guide. Now, once you're done actually drafting the legislation, again, it's always good to have a lawyer take a look at it. You need to have a sponsor. Only council members can introduce legislation. That's it. So talk to them, see what they care about, make sure you impress on them how much you care, why this is a needed thing, why the city benefits from what you'd be introducing. Introduce the actual legislation. That'll happen only at the regular meetings. Those occur every first and third Monday. If there's a holiday that day, it'll be moved to the Thursday of that week. So first and third Monday of the month. Depending on the type of legislation, it may be voted on that night. It will more than likely, though, be referred to committee. Large sweeping changes, we like to make sure people get a chance to review, have public input into, or have public input on it. So they'll be referred to one of the several standing committees that we have, anything from council operations to planning to public safety, law, good number of them there. But then also make sure you're attending committee meetings. This is where the sausage is made, essentially. All the discussions had here, all the discussions you have with the council members before, when they actually take it on, they help shape the legislation. This is the point where you can go in, make sure you impress on people why it's important that something is written a certain way, why something's addressing the topic. And then finally, once it makes it out of a committee, it goes right to the regular meetings, right for the full body again. And at this point, attend. Public comment. We like to see people come in. We want to hear what you have to say. It's important. And if there's even a public hearing, you can have a conversation with the council members. That's on the floor. It's not something that's not an opportunity that's afforded to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then we also get to the budget. Now, this is a very strict timeline. This is in the charter. We cannot deviate. The mayor submits their budget October 1st. We have to have a public hearing by October 31st, and the council needs to accept or amend the budget by November 30th. Once the mayor submits the budget, once we hit October 1st, that clock is ticking. So we're scrambling for 2 months to get as many departments in, as many people in to discuss their requisitions, their budget appropriations. By that November 30th deadline, we need to make a decision. Then it goes to the mayor. Mayor has until December 10th to either accept what we send them or to veto it. The mayor does get line item veto power, so each individual items in the budget that we approve may be vetoed. If that comes to pass, if there is any veto, the council then needs to, by December 20th, decide to override it or just accept that the mayor's vetoed it. And just to go back real quick, the Common Council's Finance, Assessment, and Taxation Committee is the primary committee for all of the budget review. This is a marathon. This is a marathon month, 2 months. You can see here in the table just how many different departments come through, essentially the entire city. And all of these are generally noticed well in advance. People will get a couple of months, or at least a month's notice before we actually go through with this.
And the community is allowed to come in and make public comment on any of these, the budget, for each department if you choose to. But this is the opportunity for the community to weigh in on what the city's budget looks like.
And then because we want people to be getting involved, we try to make sure everything is online as much as possible. So Common Council members, they have their email, their phone number, that's listed on the website, right there. You can also submit written public comments. We have a submission form right on the main overview page for the Common Council. So you can submit that there. You can submit it by email. Just send it right to us. We'll make sure it gets to the Common Council members. We prefer things to be written down, but we understand people have ability issues. And so we will be able to take things by phone as well. I'm happy to pick up the phone, sit there for half an hour, take a person's comment. It's important we get public input. And then, of course, it's by mail. The city clerk's office will receive it. We'll make sure it's included in everything we give to the council members. Public speaking, I think that's also done through the same form. You can choose to sign up to speak. It'll be either one of the committee meetings or at one of the regular meetings. Depending on how many people show up to the regular meetings, the time may be reduced to 3 minutes. We try to give everybody 5 minutes to speak, but if there's a hot button topic, if there's an important piece of legislation, we have 10, 20 people signing up.
It can take an hour or so to get through each public comment, but everyone has an opportunity to share it.
And we're constantly extending the public comment period. Really, we're only supposed to go half an hour at the beginning, half an hour at the end, but we
get everyone.
Always extend.
We always extend.
We're very good about that.
I think we've hit about an hour and a half in the first run.
In the first run, yeah.
But you don't only have to sign up online or by email. Call, let me know. I'll print out a form, fill it out for the person, or sign up by mail. It's going to be a little slower, a little less reliable that way, but we'll take it. Like I said, a lot of public information's out there. The main overview page links to a lot of different topics, including, I just want to highlight, our boards, commissions, task force application page. We are constantly taking applications now instead of just putting out a call for applications and hoping people see it. If there's a board somebody likes, wants to join, they can go ahead, select it, let us know. Submit a resume and a letter of intent. We'll throw you on the list of people we can interview.
So it's a continuous call for application that we post.
To that point, we very much like 2 more members of our commission.
We're working on it.
it.
We also post all of our agendas, so all the regular meetings, all the committee meetings, those go straight to Agenda Center. You may be familiar with it from just this board, this commission. This right here, I believe, is everything, because you can customize it. And then we also have the calendar. We post everything up there as well. And then, as I mentioned before, E-Code. That's the city code repository. That's where you would look if you're looking to draft any legislation to see what the city code actually looks like. You would use that as a draft, as a template to build off of whatever it is somebody wants to maybe recommend to council. We also host, recently, we put up a lot of reports that we received from the city. Those also go on as well, and you can actually find minutes of council meetings going back to, I believe, 1998.
Wow.
It's a treasure trove of information, of history in the city.
And then you can also follow us on social media. We're trying to become an active council, and have more of a presence on social media. So we have our Facebook page, where all of this information, our meeting notices and everything are posted, for every meeting, as well as are we on Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
I don't follow the Instagram, I'm sorry.
Right under the bus.
I follow the Facebook posts, and so I know we're definitely on Facebook and we're on Blue Sky as well.
We're trying to hit all the major ones. We were on Twitter, but
Given
some things changed.
I understand.
I mean, yeah, anybody?
Any questions?
I do have one question. This was great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think I've been the main one asking for the presentation. When it comes to the budget, so because we are looking to we now have a budget subcommittee for the commission, and we're gonna look to submit something. But because we're a part of administrative services, our budget would be incorporated within their budget. Is that how it goes?
It would be, yeah.
Okay.
So we try to encourage, and I know the boards and commissions that we work with on the council side, specifically for the violence prevention task force. They have an active budget, but it's built under the council's budget, so we do have a line item in there for that. Anything else?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Moving on to old business, equity agenda report. Yes.
May I ask for us to move, change some things around on our agenda?
Sure,
I have to go get my daughter. Can we do, if other things are gonna be quick, that's fine, but can we move budget up so that I can?
We'll get that next. I know the equity agenda has been sent to us. We should all be reviewing, and we are going to have, our initial thoughts. And I know we're not meeting in the next 2 months, but I think it would be good to have our initial thoughts in sometime by the end of July.
Just get reminders out.
Yep, I will send out reminders and emails, so that's all I have for that. Moving along, we'll now hear from the budget committee.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, for that. So I did send around a draft proposed budget. It was right before the meeting. I made it like around 5:20. That I sent it.
In our email?
Yeah. So basically what I did was, there are some discrepancies between what Autumn sent on the PDF and what, I don't know where the breakdown came from, I guess what budget has, so I did have some questions. But basically what I did in the proposed 2026 column is for the most part, I tried to keep things the same. I assume that well, for the supplies and materials line, I put $500 because it was wonky. We had like supplies and materials that totaled a little over $1,000 last year, but it was like, a tent, tables, and giveaways, and I wasn't sure if we were buying a tent again, or if we kept the tent, if the table
No,
meant that we kept the table and it's our table.
She purchased the tent, the tablecloth, and the giveaways all first. So we have the tent, we have the tablecloth now.
Okay, so those are not reoccurring charges. So then
Right.
I just put a $500 placeholder in for 2026, not knowing what kind of supplies and materials we would need. For the contracted services, I kept it flat because we did have a lot of expenses there this year, or last year rather, and we've already been having some events, and I assume we're gonna have more events like the ones we've been having, so I just kind of kept that flat, even though that may have to change. And then for training and conferences, the $5,100 is for the investigations training that we had, but I kept it flat for our proposed budget because I'm not sure if there's other trainings or conferences, workshops, or anything we're gonna wanna.
Well, apparently there's a New York State Division of Human Rights Conference, which I learned.
Is there?
We're gonna wanna
She said that she was just
attend.
at it, and I was like, wait, what? Okay.
So I just
That's
kept
great.
that flat as, you know, I'm sure we can change money from line to line, it's interchangeable, I assume. And then, so the biggest change that you will see is for the stipends, and this is what I talked about at, I don't know, 2 meetings ago, and we can always change it. So I based this projection on what the stipends are for the Community Police Review Board and the Civil Service Commission. Those two entities receive a stipend of $250 a month. So I assume.
Okay, your face was like,
No, I know that, but
oh, you knew that, oh.
I'm just interested.
I assumed for this budget that we would be asking for the $250 to bring us for parity with those two, with that commission and that board, which is where the 27 comes in. Now, 27 includes if we also fill the 2 vacancies that we have. So it's for the entire commission, not just who's here.
Also, did I not cash 2 checks because I was looking at my budget line, I was like, why did I?
I know, I was like, what?
Where's my
I don't
money?
know why some people have less than others on the budget, like even for this year, like somebody has $400, the rest of
Yeah, I
us
had
have
400,
600.
everybody had 600, I must not have finished.
I didn't know what was going on.
Did they?
Yeah, but whether you cash it or not, they should still account for it because they've already,
Oh, that would make
that
sense.
is an expense that they've already put out.
How did you say this?
And they break down, they still break down that
Breakdown.
April cent.
I think there's a copy of it in here.
It's in April's, I'm sorry, autumn, I don't know why I keep saying April. Sorry, I know, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep saying April.
I'd rather have the record.
That's what I would say. That sounds like we should
What?
request direct deposit.
Oh,
You can send Autumn an email if you want to check on it.
Yeah.
I will.
I forget about it, I don't go to the
Just be
bank,
easy.
like, every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, I forgot these checks.
I just put in my wallet whenever I go to the bank, I look at it and, oh, I got this, oh.
I learned how to do mobile apping recently.
Ooh! So I do understand that this is like so stipends line in particular is, you know, if you see the year-to-year increases, obviously a lot, right? So I don't know, I assume folks want to discuss that. I don't know how people feel about that. I don't know if we want to do something in between 100 and 250, but I do feel like we are starting to get our legs under us, okay? And doing more and being out in the community more, and I feel that requesting an increase of stipend is justified.
Is there any discussion?
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Update from community, nonprofit, and engagement and events.
Did we have a meeting?
We did. It was me and Katrina. It was like 3 minutes. It
You
was.
know what, I have to apologize, because I'm sitting here looking at my computer, and I got administrator bounce back. That comes back, can you guys, I might have to give you a different email?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm missing things, I had like,
I get that.
I had about 30 of them on here just now, and I'm trying to figure out who I missed, and I missed this meeting, because my stuff is bouncing back. I'm sorry.
Katrina was gonna bring up a couple of things.
Whether, y'all still wanna go forward with the Latinx heritage?
Yes, so.
What does that look like?
With the, proposed Latinx, event scheduled for October, November,
September, October.
September, October is the 15th to 15th. We were talking about, we wanted to talk to Tati about that, didn't we? She just.
Figure out what y'all wanted to do
Right,
first,
what
then
we
we
want
bring
it to look like, similar to, like Black History Month celebration that we
Oh,
did.
for Hispanic Heritage.
Yes, right, fair, Heritage Bus. I know the idea was talked about maybe having something up at the Madison Theater, whether it's a panel discussion or some small performances, just something highlighting the achievements, of Latinx people, which I think could be really nice.
So, the state civil service does an event basically for anything that's out there. They do Juneteenth, they do Hispanic Heritage, they do Women's Month, and their events are very nice. What they do is they have and I can get a program, they have a MC, someone, obviously an MC, and then they have someone who speaks, can speak about speak up to the event. So I assume this would be someone who is of Hispanic descent. And then they have a guest speaker who usually comes in and tells their story about, insert, right?
Right.
And it's a really good event, and then after that, they have like food, mix and mingle, and it's a really good event, just because one, you get to hear other people's experiences and their stories, and then you really realize that, oh, you can relate, and then it gives an opportunity for everyone to mix and mingle afterwards. And it's really like an hour and a half.
Yeah. I would say, so one of the things that I would be interested in seeing is how we can pull youth into this. Youth, students. So maybe partnering with one of the schools or advertising it to the school or making it student-friendly to kind of get our message out to the younger generation too. But I think that sounds like a great start. The events committee, maybe we can meet over the summer.
So I'm thinking, first of all, I love this, I don't know if I would be able to get her or not. I would love to see if I could commission her, because she is Commissioner Rosa, and she's sitting up front, and she has a very interesting, So if I get a date, I can get on her on the calendar, and she could be the keynote person, be an educator.
Yeah. I love that.
So you can probably do like a student to be the MC.
Yep.
Get someone from Albany to be the guest speaker, I think that's what they call it, and then the keynote speaker.
Keynote speaker, commissioner. I just have to have a date, I've got to get on her calendar.
Okay. Let me shoot an email, see, she'll probably have to coordinate with WUSU, because I know that they were looking to hold it up there and find that, so I'll get that done within the next couple weeks.
Okay, I can.
Sooner the better, right?
If I can get her, I know if I approach her a certain way, she'll be able to get on the calendar, and I'll talk to Laura, I want to get the date, Laura, shove this on her calendar.
Right,
so we
okay.
can get on there.
All right.
But her background's really interesting, and she is unapologetically Hispanic, but she identifies as Afro.
Right.
Which she doesn't look so, because our parents are just, extremes, and she ended up being very, very light, and her father was like very, very dark. So, she is interesting.
I love it. Great. So I will follow up.
And then I would suggest that we have food from one of the local places. I would suggest the place on Delaware Ave in the plaza, but that's just me. I love their food. Compost Stop at the Board.
Compost Sabor.
It's so good. It's right on the street from here, girl. They mac and cheese.
No, this is a Hispanic event.
Oh, Lord.
Roast con pollo.
They got that too. No, they got what? They got empanadas. They do.
She's talking about collard greens. What is going on?
They should. See, but that's the thing, right? Somebody should come in and say that people would think that that's not a part of their heritage, and it actually is.
Yes, this is true.
It's right in the Bible.
Not as much as rice and beans.
They have rice and beans.
I'm a bad Latino, though I hate plantains. Can't.
They have plantains. They have all that.
Can't do anything.
So it sounds like y'all are feeling like a similar vibe to the Black History Month program, just a little bit different. That's what it sounds.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly we should figure out what our format is and just keep the same format for each event. Because we didn't give people from our community, from our city, the opportunity to come and share their stories.
That could
that's
be the
great.
blueprint for the Rotunda series.
So sharing your story.
Yes.
Okay, would you want, maybe, like a full extra grown adult to go with the child as the MC, so like they can balance it out, because a student might not?
No, get a high school student who's, like, somebody that's used to speaking in front of people, somebody who's like the class president, or, you know, an athlete who's the captain, they won't care, they'll get out there and start talking
They
all
might
day.
get their, school councils, the student government,
Yeah.
different ones.
Yeah.
Especially all behind. This is
Okay.
what we're doing up there at
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
I think, like, that's the least of our problem. I just would love to get commissioner.
Good. So I'll get an email thread going on this
Okay.
probably tomorrow when I'm at work. Just kidding, I'm never gonna be at work. Moving right along, Val, you wanna tell us about your event tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm excited, I'm coming.
Oh, first,
As long as
I
it's before us.
first I want to thank, those who attended the, Women's March. It was an awesome event. I know it rained, but we were inside the Park Playhouse, and it was really decorated nice, and, we had over 40 moms that came out. We had over 350 people inside the Park Playhouse. The entertainment was just
Amazing.
phenomenal. It was just a really awesome event, right? So, now we're on our Juneteenth event. So we have partnered with the Albany Black Chamber of Commerce, 518 Black Restaurant Week, Bridge the Gap, and, many other partners. And we will be in Swinburne Park tomorrow, starting at 12 o'clock. And the event is from 12 to 5. Everything is free, all the food is free. We have a whole kids corner, which my sister, she just loves kids, and kids will love her. You have to never see her before, but kids love her. But, her and Miss Terry, are doing a kids corner. We have pony rides, we have the works. And so we're looking forward to this event happening tomorrow.
You bring me a great niece?
My great niece. Why you can't bring her?
I'm gonna be out Carrington.
What you running
Can't talk about
for?
that, okay?
So, you know, if you're able to come out. We're looking forward to this great event.
And there's the march beforehand?
And there is a march, there is a men's march that starts at Henry Johnson Boulevard. The last men's march, we had about 56 men. It was a mentorship breakfast for, kids, and it was in collaboration with, Big Brothers and Sisters, and 100 Black Men, and the other men, and the other men, and the other men. But Pastor Michael Williams, who is the coordinator of events on our team, that's his thing. I really don't get into it, you know, I cook for them once in a while, but that's that. But, yeah, so they do have the men's march coming up, and which is being led by, the Chocolate Thunder Band, which is now another name. And, they have the police and the state troopers and the, state police, and just a lot of different men's groups that are coming out to support this, because they've been really, working with the younger children, younger boys, in the community. They've been inside Albany High and, everything else, and a couple of other schools with Devon Wimberley. So they're really working to work with the other kids, the mentees, you know, and so we've just been having a great time.
Yeah, lots of good work. He did send me an email.
Is there anything that needs to be voted on before I leave?
Yeah, till you leave.
I got to go get my baby.
No.
No, we don't have to.
But we're still, we're fine. One more thing for that, Pastor Williams reached out and said ACLT and Men on a Mission is organizing an event on Saturday, the 28th, from 12 to 4.
Yes.
To galvanize community support around the importance of mentoring and family. There's a ton of partners involved. He did reach out specifically and ask if there was any individuals who would be able to help lead mini discussions with youth, modeling appropriate behavior and that sort of thing. I am out of the state, and I really, really wanted to be there.
I'm out of the state too, so.
Yeah, It's
run
being
26.
Congress in California. But if anybody is interested or is available, I can shoot this email out to you. I just wanted to put that out there. Also, thank you, Val and Pastor Williams, for coming out to our career day over at Lincoln. Our kids loved it, and they spoiled the kids with tips. But they learned a lot, and it was really, really nice. I will ask Autumn just to put together a conference call for us in July, even though the whole commission is meeting. I think it's important to just touch base on certain things. Yep. Anything from investigations? No. Communications and social media. Rosie, are you still with us?
Hey, I'm still here. No updates on my end, but I didn't get to press the unmute button quick enough for the community events portion. I just wanted to make a quick announcement about an event that Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated that we're having on August 2nd. The location shall be announced a little bit closer to the event, but it's an all-white party. It's called Delta en Blanc, and we're basically selling tickets. And right now, we're selling early bird tickets, and they're only $90 each, and that includes food and entertainment. And all of the proceeds will go to both scholarships and programs. So we'd love to have each and every one of you all out. Yeah, we hope that you can attend, but yeah, go to any of our pages and you can forward the link to. That would be also another way to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosie. All right. Are there any other announcements or discussions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. It has been, is there a second? It has been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn, moved by Vice Chair Young Wilkins and seconded by Commissioner Evers. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to adjourn is carried. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for getting all this put together. Please send Autumn our thanks because she had quite the...
Thank you so much. Tom, I had 2 small packages.